Hey guys, GHAZZY TV here with another Path of Exile build guide video. In this one, we're going to talk about the Arakaali's Fang, Fiend's Dagger. Basically, we're looking at the Wraith Spider on kill. I have talked to Chris Wilson about suggesting the idea of implementing a Wraith Spider skill gem in the game, so hopefully we'll see that in the coming future. That would actually be really nice. Before I'm going to talk about the way I designed this build, I'm slightly disappointed in the efficiency of it. It's a really fun build to play in general if you enjoy playing this this way, that I'll show you in a bit. It's a very niche playstyle. I feel that the investment required to make it do decent single target damage is a bit more than I want it to be compared to the efficiency. So basically, the efficiency per currency invested is not at the level that I want the build to be at. But it's a very unique playstyle. There are a couple different versions of this. I'll smack all the PoBs in the descriptions below. I decided for the Speaker's Wreaths to be better than running the Ancient Skull version, because it was just more smoother to do clearing, because I don't have to think about the way you summon your spiders, and you just basically run with the Ancient Skull, with the Speaker's Wreath to automatically summon them. And the way we do that is by looking at chaos damage. And this is easiest scaled with 4 White Triad. However, if you can't afford such a pair of gloves, you can just go with Breath Stealer. They are not as cheap as I wish them to be, but that is one way of doing it. Obviously, all of this will be in the PoB, both versions with the Ancient Skull as well as Speaker's Wreath versions. And basically, if you're playing with the Ancient Skull, you have to make sure that you kill the spiders, which means that you have to learn how to time when you're going to cast your Wraithing Jar Flask that spawns worms to explode them or kill them with corpses being available. Instead, I went with Speaker's Wreath, where I still have to make sure that I do the initial kill on the spiders, which we found a pretty neat way to do that I'll show before I show some gameplay footage. And this is done by making sure that your enemies can't kill anything unless it's ignited, or with a dot, and the dot, such as poison, counts as your kill, which means that you will be automatically resummoning your spiders throughout the maps. Because of this, it's not a build that I would suggest for bossing, but it would be really nice to play something different when it comes to clearing maps. So I'm going to show you that real quick of how I'm summoning spiders. So basically what I do is I have a Cyclone, Desecrate, Castle Channeling. I have a Cyclone, Castle Channeling, Desecrate, Flesh Offering, Spell Cascade, and Fortify. So what I do is I cast some corpses. Now that I have corpses, if I spin again, it's going to explode it with Flesh Offering. So what I do is I make sure that there's corpses. I spawn corpses, and then I use Orb of Storms, and then I click the Wraithing Jar. The problem with this is that if you have spectres, which I don't have summoned right now, which we should bring up anyways, Carnage. So there's a risk that your spectres or your golems will kill these. The best way to avoid this is to cast the Orb of Storms, spin some corpses, and then cast the Wraithing Jar right after. This has a very high probability of giving me the spiders based of 2 spiders per available corpse. To show you this again, what you do is you place your Orb of Storms, you spin some corpses, you cast your Wraithing Jar, and you have spiders. Now this is the process of doing it. So again, you cast your Orb of Storms, you spin for corpses, you smack your Wraithing Jar Flask. Like, wrong order. It might not work this time. I got some. It seems to be better when you cast the Orb of Storms first. Is what we've established from this. Once you've achieved this, it is very simple to get your minions out, and then you play the map, right? To further help you with this, especially versus faced bosses, you use Soul of Rislatha, so when you're not using a life flask, you will regain charges. This will help you build up charges for the Wraithing Jar Flask. The build's gear in general is that for this version, I'm using an also uprising to make sure we can get the Envy skill. Envy skill gives us increased flat chaos damage with attacks and spells to anyone affected by the aura. We're using Skitterbots for the shock effect, and Malevolence for increased poison damage, and a Precision for the accuracy and also increased crit. The support gems on the Arakaali's Fang is an Awoke spell, melee splash, which you can change for a multi-strike. I'm using an Awakened melee physical. We can use damage of full life, for example, instead as well. Doesn't really matter because we're playing as a Guardian, allowing us to get Intimidate for free, and we have mini damage right now. So just to show you some gameplay footage before I talk more about the build, chill, and you'll see what I mean with the lack of single target efficiency. So we're gonna do this map, no missions, and go. So as I start the map up, I will make sure I get the initial spider summoned. So I will cast my Orb of Storms, spin for corpses, smack them out, and as you can see now, I actually failed. This happens very rarely. So I have no spiders, and my flask is empty. Either I can go up to an enemy and start hitting them, which means I have to tank them till they die, or my golem actually finally kills it, or I wait till it charges it back up, put this up, wait for the flesh offering, get corpses, spam this up, and it's failed again. Which is really terrible when those things happen. The other solution is to do this because your golems will be poisoning. I lost some spectres, but now that I got my spiders back up, I'm able to play the game. So the spectres surviving has been a main problem that we've encountered quite a lot during mapping. So normally I tend to just ignore them. This is not something you want to go with the Ancient Skull. Now at this point, I don't have to think about anything. Now I just spin, and the recommendation is not to spin on top of the enemies, because then you'll actually be tanking them. And the spiders are very aggressive by nature, so they're going to go ham and just kill everything. And since they can't do killing blows because of the Speaker's Breath, they will poison them, and then they will re-summon basic corpses around the killed targets by themselves. And versus single target, I'm casting out a Wither Totem, and then I'm just spinning. As you can see here, the boss took too long to die, so instead I now don't have any spiders left, on top of the fact that my Carrion Golem died. Which is one of the biggest problems I've had with this build in general. So we're gonna die here. So that is one of the biggest issues I've had with single target on the higher tier maps. Lower tier maps have been pretty chill in this specific sense. The Ancient Skull had better single targets, but it was still problematic in general when it comes to single targets. So depending on the type of colony you're running and the way you want to design it, you can definitely play this build, but I'm not very happy with how it turned out. I'm sure you can make it better. If you have a better suggestion for a design of this, let me know in the comments below. Would love to see some PoBs and have a look at them. But in general, it's a very unique playstyle. I just feel that the lack of efficiency is drastically affecting my enjoyment of the build. As you can see, it's taking ages to kill it. You can spec into some duration nodes to make the spiders have a better duration. That is a solution to this specific problem that we have, because the poison that we get is definitely helping the approach of keeping spiders running when it comes to the single target, because they're stacking up poisons. The boss will eventually die from the poison effects themselves. The mapping itself is pretty smooth with it. Rituals are really nice as well, especially if you use the Breath Stealer gloves. But yeah, my verdict is that I'm just straight up disappointed in the efficiency that's being brought up by the build. Is that Setosh? Alright, so here's a unique Beyond monster. Takes a while to kill. But for the most part, the build's pretty cool when it comes to clearing. But yeah, it's been thrown together. I'm not going to go into too much of detail of how I designed the defensive of it. We're using 80% fire rest, 79 cold and lightning. I'm not actually capped in lightning, I see now. I'm lucky 1%. But yeah, that's basically how the build looks. Single target was terrible. We killed Shaper. It took a while, but Shaper's not a very hard boss fight to encounter these days. Stampede, it was okay. I would probably go for a rare one personally. I'm using a max resistances with block spell, a shield, generic life rest stats, rings, life chest piece. I went with an armor base because the astral plates are duped items are pretty cheap these days. Darkness of the Throne because it's cheap and effective. And no cluster jewels in this specific version. We made a cluster jewel version, do about 10 to 12 million Shaper DPS, and that's where you get the efficiency of a single target. But I don't know. I'm personally not a big fan of the playstyle. I was expecting it to be doing a bit better than it does, but this is what I got for you. The TLDR is that I'm not satisfied with the efficiency of it, and that it feels more like a scuffed together build than anything. But anyways, hit me up in the comments below if you guys have any other approaches to how you've done the build. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe for more content, and until next time, stay safe, keep rocking.